Here it is, the review I know you all have been waiting for. It's one I've been waiting for a while now. Universe, or Reveal the Shield, or Generations, or whatever they're calling it, Lugnut. I guess Generations Lugnut. He's still got the same basic World War II bomber-esque look to him, although he does have some other elements that, like, this cockpit down here is very bomber-esque. The tail gun is certainly very bomber-esque, but the rest of the layout of just like the shape of the fuselage and this cockpit up here is very more reminiscent of like a C-5 or a C-130 cargo plane. So he's really kind of a mishmash of some various plane types along with some creative license. You can see he's got the LU-6, NU-7 kind of spelling out Lugnut on both his tail fin and his wings. You can kind of flip the gun down here as kind of a boom gun. Kind of looks like a boom from an air refueling plane. You can also, if you want to deploy it in jet mode, you can flip this over, I guess, and have it come up like that. And I'm showing off these particular poses for this gun because I haven't really found a way that it's supposed to go in robot mode. Like, I thought maybe this whole section could come off as a big gun for Lugnut, and it just doesn't seem to be the case. It's screwed on right in there, and and this is, you can see where the screw goes on. It pivots right on this hinge where the screw attaches on this gun, so even just this piece doesn't come out. There you can see the missile fires. So I'm not sure. I'll show you a couple very different robot mode positions for the gun as well when we get to that. But just a couple of possibilities for that gun. There's the underside of the plane when we get to it. So pretty cool. Transformation-wise, you can really start wherever you want. I usually start with the legs down under here. You want to come under here and just pull the lower half of the fuselage down, and that extends this whole bit. Then you want to come here and flip these pieces up, just like that. And you actually want to take this, bring the hip up like this, and rotate it down so this big pin gets hidden in the back. And then rotate the leg around like this at the hip. So you can kind of see some of the leg posability there already. And then flip the feet open like that, and just down onto the bottom. Same thing here, just flip the feet open. Now, a lot of pictures have showed him with these really long, spindly legs, and part of that is because people are just extending him up like this, like that. And what you really want to do is take this whole piece and push it all the way forward and collapse that joint into the leg. He still has a knee joint. It still operates just fine, but you actually want to collapse that down into the leg, which gives him a more solid leg and gives him a little bit more of the squat, bulky look he had from animated. And just kind of helps in general with some of the skinny lankiness that some of the earlier pics were showing. And then do the arms. You basically take the wings here. You want to rotate them around like this. Flip that piece up and flip the wingtip up and plug it in right there on his onto this piece. Bring it down like this. Undo these fingers right here, and then take this whole top piece like this and rotate it so it's facing the end of the arm. And then he's got, and then you've got his arm put together, and he's got his two fingers here are individually posable. There's one single piece right that moves down here, right at the bottom of the hand, and then each individual finger is posable, as well as the little thumb finger down here. And he also, once you do this, he's got a pivot up here at the shoulder and a hinge here at the elbow. We'll get into that button here in a little bit. It also, his arms ratchet up and it can rotate around like this. I was kind of hoping that like there'd be a pivot right here behind the engine so this whole engine could rotate forward. It's not the case. But we'll just do the same thing on the other side. And there are his arms. Now you want to flip this cockpit back, just like that. And then when you take, let's get this up. You want to take this tail piece, you want to flip the tail down flat, and then you're going to push this piece forward into the body. And when you do that, that pops apart his chest and flips his head up. Now we're not done with that yet. You can also, if you want, like I said, here's where I was talking about this gun. You can rotate this, it doesn't detach. You can rotate this piece around and you can kind of, if you want, bring this up a little bit so he can kind of deploy it. If you get him squatting down, he can kind of deploy it over his back, but that's really kind of awkward. When we get him fully transformed, I'll show you a possible other use for that. Push that all the way up against his back. Come on, foot. There we go. And then you want to take this piece and pull it forward and push it all the way up. And you want to snap it together here. There we go. Push it all the way up so it snaps together. And there you go. And then, and these pieces are kind of a soft rubbery bit, so you can, if you want, you can kind of push them under the, you can fold them down and push them under the engines there, and it's going to bend it, but it's not like a plastic that's going to just stress and break. The whole, aside from this cockpit piece here, this whole upper front is a soft rubbery plastic with like a hard plastic frame underneath. But up here, you're not going to hurt anything by bending that down under there, if you prefer that. These pieces also like pivot this way a little bit, so if you want to have it, you want to pivot this so it goes under the engine this way and doesn't bend it, you can do it. You've got a little bit of personal preference in how you can have it so the piece kind of goes into the tail fin. I don't recommend that because that's going to kind of, while it won't break it, it will train the plastic to bend outward, and that's going to look funny in jet mode. So it's really up to you there. His jaw does open. You can make him talk. He does, which is kind of cool. Instead of the fixed jaw on the original, you can do that. But that more or less is Lugnut in robot mode. Now, one of the drawbacks that I mentioned in my pictorial review over on TFW is that it's clearly Lugnut's head here, but without that hunch behind it, it just doesn't look quite right. It looks a little off. But it's still clearly Lugnut, and still a lot of fun. Also, for those who love his punch of kill everything, both elbows have this little button here that if you make his hand into a fist, you can push it and give him the punch of kill everything, and he can do that on both arms. Or if you just want to give him longer arms, you can do that too. Your call. So I mean, so if you want him to be like taller and lankier and skinnier, you can re-extend those knee joints, extend the arms, and have a taller, lankier Lugnut, if that's what you prefer. So, just showing them off there. So we'll get him back to normal size here. Stand him up, and we'll do a couple quick size comparisons. Like I said, the arms are really, considering how they transform, I think the transformation for the arms is really neat, and even considering all that, they are quite posable. The legs aren't quite as crazy posable as I'd like, but you still got a lot of range of movement in there, and the feet support a wide variety of poses. So that's pretty cool. And then just a quick comparison, here he is next to his animated counterpart. And just for fun, here he is with the updated lockdown, just to give you an idea of how he looks with the couple of different of the updated animated figures, which I think is kind of cool. We've now gotten two of the cooler animated designs updated in different lines, which I think is kind of cool. And here he is with, you saw him compared in plane mode out in the intro, but here he is next to a highbrow. if you want to have the two World War II type planes together as rivals or something like I do. So yeah, really awesome, really awesome. Like I said, he's great. A few minor issues. And this gun. Like I said, this gun could be implemented a little better. I've also found that if you want, you can kind of rotate it around and slide and have it sticking out by his waist, kind of like Megatron's the actual gun barrel for Megatron when you transformed him on the old toy. But he can have that little hidden missile launcher there on his side, and you can, again, because it rotates, you can do it on either side of the figure. Personal preference, and it does kind of help fill in that one little skinny bit part of his waist. But yeah, there you go. Generations Lugnut, very cool. Like I said, this is the Hasbro version. It's mostly green with some purple and some teal, but mostly an olive green. The Japanese version, I think, has more purple on it, a little shinier. So, really, your only choice should be not do I pick him up or not, but which color scheme do I get. Anyway, there he is. Really like him. Universe Lugnut. Just a quick update, something cool that I missed. I was complaining about, like, I still haven't found a way for this gun to work, but I was complaining about his head just kind of sits up here and doesn't really give him that hunch, or doesn't fill in the space behind it. And I just found out that this whole engine assembly lifts up, just like this, detaches, slides forward, and then these little pegs right here on the back actually peg in under here. But this slides up and pegs right in behind his head, so his head actually does, in fact, sit right up against the back there. It also gives these chest pieces clearance to move back some more, brings his shoulders up a little more in line with the rest of his body, and then this compresses even further forward. So there you go. That's actually a lot better, and I wanted to make sure to show that off, that he does actually have his hunch. It does, or at least something right behind his head. This whole engine assembly does lift up and let the cockpit pieces move a little freer, and just really finally finishes off the look of Lugnut. So, just a heads up, there you go.